Good afternoon. We're up in the Universal building with a man that I like listening to his music. I play a lot of his stuff at home personally, and so when we talk, it's going to be a fan conversation. So today we're here with L Marshall. What's going on, bro?
Chilling, man. Happy New Year to everybody. What's going on?
What have you been doing up to now?
Well, as in last year? I mean, basically, it was all about, the beginning of the year was all about the mixtape, the EP. And then it became all about recording the album, writing and recording that. Obviously, I'm writing all my own stuff, so it took a lot of time. I didn't have anyone sending songs over, but that was basically it. It was all about making the album and being happy with it. And I think we achieved that. I'm entirely happy with it. My team's happy with it. Once that was done, it just became about getting the wheels turning again. You can't stay cold in this business, man. You can't be leaving too much space between tracks.
So, for those that haven't been paying full attention to where they should have been, chart your kind of rise to where you found yourself here with Killer Hip Hop in the Universal.
Oh man, what, long version or short version?
The long version, speed it up.
I been writing. I started out wanting to be a rapper. When I was 11 years old. I mean, being a singer just wasn't cool back then. Not with the boys anyway. You get made fun of. But I kind of realized that I could sing around the same age, to be honest. Started taking it seriously around 15, started getting in the studio, and I was all about writing. I used to write 3-4 songs a day just as an exercise, and yeah, I spent my whole teenage years doing that. There's not one person apart from, a couple of close family members, there isn't one person alive that knew me before music. And yeah, I had to get myself a good manager, and I did that. That's the first step for any artist, get yourself a good manager that you can trust. We just started making things happen, and I ended up in a studio session with Yogi. We did Tractor, that went out to Wretch, you know the story behind that. Off the back of that, the majors came calling, which was very, very fortunate, and Mercury felt like home. Came here, put out the weight. We'd already recorded half of it because that was the next step, putting out a mixtape. But then these guys were good enough to see that vision, put out the mixtape, spin-off EP, a couple of features. Now we're into Castle's first single, and thank God it's all gone smoothly.
Finding yourself up at Mercury after that came about from the Tractor. How did the Tractor come about?
Alright, well, basically, my manager and Yogi, the producer, my manager and his manager, they've known each other for a while, so it actually just started off as a straight up, writing session. They had this beat, they didn't know what they were going to do with it, they'd had some top liners come in and try and do something with it, no one had delivered, and I think they were getting a bit frustrated. Then, my name came up while our managers were talking. They sent me over the beat. I had it for a week, It was really stripped down though. I couldn't think of anything to it, and I understood why. I could think of stuff, but it wasn't what I wanted to do on it, you know what I mean? We eventually decided that we should go in the studio. Went in, and I remember I walked in and they were already messing around with it, putting piano riffs in and whatnot. And as soon as they had melodies going, it just started flowing in my head as well. I remember so I write fairly quickly sometimes, when I'm in the vibe. I was sitting there just sort of skirting around it, listening to it, and I went to use the toilet, number one. Yeah, official, number one. But before that number one was over, I'd come up with the chorus, and that's true story. You can ask anyone who was in the session. It was awesome. It literally just came out of thin air and came out, recorded it. The actual session was only useful for about 20 minutes. After that, we were just vibing. You know what I mean? But we did it, and we sent it out. Wretch's people came back, they loved it. He put his verses together, and I still hadn't met him yet. But when it came time to do the breakdown bit, in the mid-late, that was his idea. We got in the studio. We did that. That was the first time I met him, and we just all vibed out. And it kind of it started off as this thing that was random. You know, there were different people doing their parts in different places, nothing to do with each other. But by the end of it, we were all in the studio jamming, just doing our thing. I had to make lyric changes though. It was the funniest thing. I stack peas every day. Used to be smoke weed every day, but Rets doesn't do that. So he was like,
"It's got to be radio friendly as well."
But you know what, right? Like I heard a funny story about that. I can't remember who told me, but I was talking to one of the Radio 1 DJs early last year, and he told me that apparently, apparently El Marshall heard that Tractor actually changed the rules at Radio 1. Yeah, because apparently before that, you could say, I could swear, right? You guys can edit it out, right? All right. Like you could say motherfucker, right? And they would bleep out the fucker, right? But because it was such a prominent part of the hook, you can't even say mother anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like they have to bleep out the whole word now. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, it really was like a personal preference of Wretches, but I think when the record was done, it was as radio friendly as it would ever be. Do you know what I mean?
All right. For those that don't know about your history, when we hear you talk, you can hear it's kind of a cocktail. Where does all that come from?
I mean, I grew up all over. You know, I was born here. I moved to Brazil when I was about 1. It was random, but I did, you know. And I moved back here when I was like 9. When I was 13, I moved out to Nigeria. Moved back here when I was like 18. I've been here since. It's all been a bit mixed, you know. Like I went to schools in London. I also went to boarding schools outside of London. Like my upbringing has been diverse, to say the least, you know. But I don't know. I think it makes me feel exotic.
Alright, Brazil and Nigeria, they're musically very prominent. Do you feel that they kind of have ever influenced in your music?
I mean, not in a sense where it's conscious, but I don't see how, you know, you can spend a portion of your life somewhere and not soak it up. You know, I do music, I'm interested in music, you know, no matter where I've lived, anything I hear, whether it's just, you know, you're walking down the street and they're playing, you know, something on the road, or you're in the car and it's on the radio, or you're buying CDs physically, you know, that country is going to have a certain vibe, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, there's undoubtedly it's influenced my music, because it's influenced my characters, influenced my personality, and my music is all about that. You know, so I think it definitely comes across, but it's not a conscious effort. It's just a part of who I am now.
Do you ever kind of push music to those places?
Absolutely, yeah. I've got a foot in Nigeria all the time. You know, we got the what's it called? We've actually got an Afrobeat. Well, not Afrobeat, but we've got an African remix for Castles. Yeah, we've got a Burna Boy and Neolo on it. You know, Burna Boy is blowing the hell up in Nigeria right now. He's pretty much the hottest new artist out there. And yeah, I mean, I rep, you know, like I know where I'm from.
Do you speak the languages?
Languages, yeah, you know your stuff. Nah, I don't. The 5 years I was there was enough to learn Pidgin English, but my grandma's always trying to teach me Yoruba, which is my tribe, but it just never clicked. You know, I'm like, I know, you know, Oshima, Ekasonwa, yeah, Kilonshele, you know.
Everybody knows, yeah. What's kind of next in the El Marshall saga?
All right, well, you know, for the record, Castle's out 25th of Feb. Yes, Castle's out 25th of Feb. After Castles, it is the next track. After that, it's the next track, and at some point along the way, it's gonna be the album. It's done, it's ready. It's just, you know, we're just waiting for the right time to drop it. Probably be the end of this year. But really, as opposed to last year, like, you know what, like we were saying before the camera started rolling, like it's not. Last year there was a lot of holding back, just because, you know, you have to get your ammo ready. You know what I mean? You can't go to war with half a clip. You know, but now it's all there, it's all set. We're locked and loaded, so it's just about putting the music out, and we're real confident.
What kind of features or secrets can we expect off the album?
Nah, you know what? Like, features wise, I seriously play that by ear. You know, I mean, Nicki wasn't on Castles until the last minute. And yeah, I play it by ear. So where it comes to features, it's just a thing where it could be just before the track's about to come up, and I'm in a session with someone, play it to them, they like it, boom, it happens. Yeah, I don't think too much about that. But in terms of surprises, I think hopefully it's not a surprise, but I think if the only notable factor is the jump. These aren't mixtape days anymore. Like, yeah, we're serious.
So, outside of your personal, I know that you write for others as well. What kind of writing credits you got under you?
I got How We Roll. It was my first cut. That was for Louis Kessien. I got a track called 1000 that's on Cheryl Cole's album. I'm waiting to hear back for this, but I did some stuff for Rihanna when they last had her writing camp here in the UK. But a lot of people did that, so they got so many songs, man. But we'll see. To be honest, that's actually about it. I have done a few other bits and pieces, like I've had sessions, but you kind of do it and you forget about it until it gets confirmed. I only mentioned the Rihanna thing because I want to name drop in it. Do you know what I mean? But really and truly, I've worked with a lot of people, but until they actually officially say, yeah, this is on the album or this is going to be a single, I can't say it's under my belt. It's it's a session I did.
Is writing as big of a part as actually being a performer is?
Not anymore. It is, right? When how should I explain it? When you're trying to bring new things into your life, and there's certain things that you're used to, there's certain things that you're trying to get used to, right? Once you're used to something, you no longer consider it a big deal. It just becomes a part of what you do. So writing will always be as important as performing, which is as important as the singing. Everything is as important as itself. But I've always been a writer, so to me, I do that on autopilot. The performing, I've been doing that for a couple of years now, so that's more of a focus point for me. But yeah, they're all as important as each other.
So, for you, you're a singer and a rapper. What's your kind of rapper influence? Who do you look up to?
Alright, I could tell you this really, really precisely, actually. Started off on Tupac, and that was all I would listen to. Graduated to Eminem, and then that was all I was listening to. Graduated to Nas, and then I flipped from Nas to Jay-Z. I don't know, I think it was when I reached that age where, swag became something important. You know what I mean? Those high school days and stuff, you sit there, listen to some of the stuff that Jay-Z has to say, you're just like, yeah, I want some of that. But yeah, switched to Jay, and after that, I was really interested in Lil Wayne, and then most recently, it's been a lot of influence from Drake, and I'm actually really feeling Kendrick Lamar right now. That would be the hierarchy for me, It's it's not really a top 5 or anything. It's just, yeah, exactly. But in that order, those were my favorite. Each one of those was my favorite rapper at one point, and each one it went in that order.
You've done a few tracks with UK rappers. I know you work with Sneakbo, Sincere, and a couple of others. What's your verdict on the UK scene?
On the UK scene, I think it's not as developed as the scene in America. I think that once, I got a lot of love for it, and I think that it's going to grow, and I think that as the scene grows, so will the music. But if I'm going to be completely unbiased and honest, it's not achieving what I feel it should be achieving, and it's a big shame, because I think people have this preconception that if you're a rapper out here, or if you're hip-hop in any way out here, you gotta, at some point in your career, when you want to start trying to make money, you have to go overly commercial, whereas in the States, they just make the music. And at the end of the day, you bring any one of those guys over here, they're selling out, and their records are selling, and people are listening to their stuff, and they're on TV, so people here love that. And the rappers here can do that, but I just think it hasn't connected in people's heads that, there's no such thing as an English rapper sound. There shouldn't be. It should just be like, hey, banging tune. You know what I'm saying? But I think until the industry's at a place where it can show English hip hop and grime the right kind of respect, we're never gonna graduate to the next class.
The English has the talent there, but it's like the business is not always following up.
I mean, the talent is always there. You can't tell me that this whole country doesn't have people who can step to those guys out there. Yes, we do. You know, a lot of them are out there. You're listening to their music, but it's not, you know, they're making that music from a different standpoint. There's a lot more fear here, I feel, you know, like out in the States, at least from what I've seen anyway, you know, people get in the studio, they make the track, and if it's banging, it's banging. Out here, you know, you're considering way too much. You better make that 330, you know, or radio won't play it. Ooh, you want to take that line out because of this. You want to, ooh, that can't be the chorus. It's not, you know, whatever enough. Oh, if we're going to make a dance song, then it's got to have some Europop feel to it. Like, it ain't all about that. And yeah, just vibe, you know. I mean, I feel like people need to approach their albums more like their mixtapes, you know. Let loose a bit. You can still keep control, you know, but let loose, man. Like, give people what you like to listen to.
It's been good, bruv. It's definitely been an insightful interview. You spoke a lot on your beliefs about the industry. I like it a lot, so thanks a lot. It's been good. This is Killer Hip Hop here, your man El Marshall, Mercury, love.
Yes, guys, it's El Marshall. You're watching Killer Hip Hop. Castle dropping 25th of Feb. Make sure you guys stay tuned in, man. Alright? Happy New Year.